My goofiest secret in life is that I cry every time I play Celeste. And the thing that really gets me about this game is the story between the protagonist Madeline and her toxic doppelgänger who's known as Badeline. See, Badeline is like the outward manifestation of a part of Madeline's own psyche, and she represents Madeline's toxic inner monologue. She's the voice in her head that tells Madeline that she isn't good enough to accomplish her goals or to be worthy of love. And that's because Badeline is primarily governed by fear of pain, failure, and loss. And this fear transforms Badeline into Madeline's enemy. She actively works to prevent Madeline from even trying to accomplish her goals. Because if Madeline tries, then she opens herself up to the possibility of failure, for failure only ever comes to those who try. And so it's better just to tell yourself that you're not good enough from the very beginning, because that way you'll protect yourself from ever having to experience the pain of failure. Or such at least is Badeline's philosophy. And she also chases Madeline through huge portions of Celeste in an effort to impose this philosophy upon her and to prevent her from pursuing her goals. And Madeline, for her part, initially responds to this hostility by trying to run away. She tries to escape the clutches of her toxic doppelganger. But then there ultimately comes a point where Madeline realizes that running away is futile, because Badeline is ultimately a part of her own psyche. And this means that Madeline is effectively trying to run away from herself. And that's just not how things work. The self is the one thing that you can never escape in this life. And so Madeline instead changes up her strategy of resisting the toxic voice of Badeline. Instead of running away from Badeline as though she were an enemy, Madeline decides instead to pursue her as though she were a potential friend, and to treat her with love and compassion. Because Madeline has come to understand that running away from a part of yourself is really a form of self-hatred. Even hating your own toxic inner monologue is a way of hating yourself, and Madeline wants to love herself. And for this reason, she chooses to love Badeline as well, without exactly embracing the point of view that she represents. But then in the very moment where Madeline ceases to run away and decides instead to pursue Badeline as though she were a friend, something funny happens. Suddenly, Badeline's behavior changes. And even though up to this point she has relentlessly pursued Madeline like a vengeful spirit, now the roles reverse. And now it's Badeline who runs away from Madeline. I think what's happening here is that Badeline has built her entire self-conception on the idea that her very existence is toxic, and that she doesn't deserve anything simply in virtue of being the person that she is. And so there's a real sense in which Madeline threatens to destroy Badeline's entire self-conception by refusing to hate her for her toxicity. Instead, she tries to humanize her by diagnosing its origin, which is fear and pain and desire. And Madeline pursues her other self literally to the ends of the earth in a relentless effort to retrieve her humanity, until Badeline has nowhere else to run. And Madeline finally approaches her other self, and she tells her that it's okay to be scared, and she gives her a hug. And that's the part that always makes me cry.